Alright, look, since there are about, give or take, jutsu spread across the Naruto manga, anime, games, movies, and so on, I'm gonna kindly ask you to do me a favor and keep in mind that this was a pretty difficult list for me to make, and considering I'm narrowing my choices down from an approximate estimate of 486 octophillion jutsu to 5, you and I probably aren't gonna see eye to eye on this one, buddy.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. What do you mean you don't think bat controlling ultrasonic mind waves is the best jutsu? Dislike, unsubscribe, like if you agree.
On that note, I don't really think I need to clarify this, but this list is not ranking the top 5 strongest jutsu in the series. Rather, it's a list cataloging my personal favorites. So, if we're good on that, everybody understands, let's just get right into the list. This is without a doubt, no contest, the coolest taijutsu ability in the entire series. While the primary Lotus, Reverse Lotus, Hirudora, Asakujaku, Night Guy, and all of the other abilities used by Guy and Rock Lee are pretty cool, they don't even come close to having the cool factor that this jutsu does. Nothing about the mechanics of the 8 trigram 64 palms ended up landing it on this list. I put it here solely because it looks really, really cool. I think the reason I like it so much is a combination of the progressive increase in strikes, the sheer overwhelming speed of the combination of attacks, and even the way the user yells out how many chakra points have been stricken each time they progress to the technique's next stage. I guess this spot should go to the 128 palms, but I think the 64 palms is a lot more iconic. And the scene where it was first used is just way cooler if you're watching the series for the first time than the scene where the 128 palms made its debut. Now, I know I said the mechanics didn't really have anything to do with this being placed on the list, but the fact that it completely shuts down somebody's chakra network, and in most cases keeps them from even being able to stand up, is pretty awesome. I guess the only thing that holds this jutsu back is the fact that it is completely ineffective. Neji's never really shut anybody down in a fight with this before. Like, even when he landed all 64 strikes on Naruto, oh, nope, didn't do anything. Guess what? Naruto's the Jinchuriki of the strongest tailed beast ever. Or at least 1/2 of it anyway. Sucks to be you, I know, Neji, but come on, you don't have time to fret about it. You gotta prepare yourself. You're about to get one shot by an uppercut to the face. I don't really think I need to explain myself here. Chibaku Tensei's awesome. You clap your hands together and make a big fucking moon in the sky. What's not to like about it? Now, it was really cool when Pain used it, at least in the manga anyway, not in the anime. That episode was animated really, really badly. And Madara's use of it was pretty cool as well. He created a whole bunch of planetoids and dropped them on top of Naruto and Sasuke all at once. But the coolest use of this jutsu by far is when Sasuke used it to capture all 9-tailed beasts with a single clap of his hands. Additionally, after that, he went on to summon all of the Chibaku Tensei satellites he created to the final valley where he was fighting Naruto so that he could use the Rinnegan to absorb the chakra of all of the tailed beasts contained inside and fire an Indra's arrow strong enough to overpower 2 tailed beast ball Rasen Shuriken from Naruto. It also made his Susanoo look like this. I mean, it was just one of the coolest things anybody ever did in the whole manga. This jutsu is responsible for some of the greatest eye candy this series has to offer. Like this shot of Pain staring down the 9 tails as it's attempting to break free of the Chibaku Tensei. This moment here where Naruto and Sasuke used it to seal Kaguya. And the scene I just mentioned where Sasuke used it to capture 9-tailed beasts and then fire Indra's arrow. Alright, so unlike the last two, this one's not exactly here because it's cool to look at. It's here because if I could have one jutsu as a ninja in the world of Naruto, it would be the multi-shadow clone jutsu. But if I could have a second jutsu in addition to that, my first pick would be the Flying Thunder God technique. And does this really need explaining? I know I said this for the last entry, but like, I really mean it. This jutsu lets you teleport to anywhere you've left a mark, like in the whole world. And when Minato left a mark on Obito's back, it didn't disappear for like 17 whole years, even after he died. It does look kinda cool when used in some cases. For example, I think the time when Tobirama teleported Naruto to Obito's back so he could slam him with a Sage Rasengan was pretty nice to look at, as are all of those scenes where Minato spams the jutsu rapid fire and teleports back and forth between a whole bunch of his kunai and other markings. Plus, how can you not love the only jutsu capable of countering Kamui that isn't Kamui? Really, there's just a whole lot of good stuff to say about this jutsu and not a whole lot of bad. Now, I'd be genuinely surprised if I saw a video like this from any single person who actually likes this manga and this jutsu wasn't on it. Like, seriously, the Shadow Clone Jutsu is the jutsu. It's easily the most iconic ability in the whole series. And now, you could argue that that's not necessarily true, and that the Rasengan is far more recognizable, but no. No. Definitely the Shadow Clone Jutsu. And I mean, Naruto wouldn't even have been able to perform the Rasengan in the first place without the Shadow Clone Jutsu, so... seems like we got a winner right here. But really, there's a whole lot to love about this jutsu. Plus, I'm not just talking about the Shadow Clone Jutsu, I'm also talking about all of its variants, like the Wood Clone Jutsu, although that technique may have actually come before this one, the Water Clone Jutsu, Sand Clones, all that sort of stuff. But specifically the Shadow Clone Jutsu, because it's the most versatile. Like I said in the last entry, as much as I would love to have Flying Thunder God, I would definitely want to have this one more. Naruto was able to learn how to use the Rasen Shuriken in a minuscule amount of time, thanks to being able to use thousands of Shadow Clones to train all at once, which is one of the coolest uses of any jutsu in the whole series. There are plenty of other really cool clone jutsu moments too, like when Madara created Wood Clones and then had those Wood Clones use Susanoo, or like when Itachi created a Shadow Clone and then blew it up in the middle of a river. It took everybody by surprise, and I'm really shocked that he never did that again. The fact that it's possible to make exploding Shadow Clones is actually one of the reasons why this jutsu is so high up on the list. Come on, Itachi, why did you ever... That's like the coolest jutsu he has. But of course, I can't forget the good old-fashioned strength in numbers beatdowns that Naruto used to perform using this jutsu way back in part 1, and even on occasion in part 2. Even as a child, he was able to create 2,000 Shadow Clones, which he used to beat the ever-living shit out of Gaara. As with the Flying Thunder God, I just have a whole lot of good stuff to say about this ability, and nothing really bad. So real quick before I move on to number 1, honorable mentions. Just gonna go through these really quickly and give a brief explanation for why I like them so much. First off, it's this gigantic wind-style Rasengan formed in the shape of a shuriken that destroys its targets on a cellular level. It is so powerful and so deadly that Tsunade told Kakashi, you probably shouldn't let Naruto use that jutsu anymore, like ever. When it was first used, it also created an explosion large enough to consume the entire area housing the battle between Kakashi, Team Asuma, Naruto, and Kakuzu, though over time the explosions created by it seemed to get smaller and smaller as Naruto became more proficient at using it. It's Kamui. It's great. I was really tempted to put it on the list, but I don't like it quite as much as any of the jutsu that are already there. But still, it's one of the reasons why it's so much fun to watch Obito fight, and I've always personally really liked people with the ability to phase through matter. But Kamui serves as more than just an intangibility power. It also lets Obito suck people into his own pocket dimension, travel to and from said pocket dimension at will, summon objects and people from within it, and with his other eye, he can teleport things into this dimension from a distance. From pretty far away as well, as seen when Kakashi first used it in the battle against Deidara. The inextinguishable black flames produced by the Mangekyo Sharingan of Itachi and Sasuke. It's black and it's fire, and it looks really cool, especially because it causes the user's eyes to bleed every time it's used. Well, at least until Sasuke acquires the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but you know. I mean, Sasori just pulls 100 puppets out of thin air. He allegedly took out an entire country with this jutsu as well. Absolutely crazy. Gotta love it. It's super over the top and is easily Sasori's coolest jutsu. Another ability that almost made the top 5, but just wasn't able to squeeze in because I liked everything else that I already have on the list just a little more. Aside from Chibaku Tensei, this is my favorite Rinnegan ability, as it's really unique. It allows Madara to project clones of himself into the invisible world of Limbo. And I'm not really sure how, while they're in Limbo, they're able to interact with people who exist in the real world, but it's still a really cool ability. It's definitely broken, though, especially considering he could use it before he had the abilities of the Sage of Six Paths, and no one without either Sage Mode or a Rinnegan could detect these clones. I mean, I really don't know what Kishimoto was thinking giving Madara an ability like this. As a kid, this jutsu dazzled me. I thought the Raikiri and the Chidori were the coolest things ever, and I don't really think I need to explain myself. I'm pretty sure everybody likes these two jutsu. And now, moving on to number 1. Don't you even tell me that a gigantic fucking lightning dragon isn't the coolest thing you've ever seen. How Sasuke managed to create this jutsu using the Chidori as a base is beyond me, but I don't care. That just makes it even more impressive. Like, what the when did he make this? I just gotta say, I gotta point out, man, throughout the entire battle between Itachi and Sasuke, Itachi had this pretty glazed, unentertained look on his face. He didn't really look all that scared of anything that Sasuke had pulled off up to that point. As soon as he pulled Kirin out, the look that crept up on Itachi's face was one of a man who just shit himself. And I don't blame him. The sounds it makes, the way it's created, the fact that it takes 0 chakra, the fact that it blew up the whole Uchiha hideout. Itachi even said to Sasuke, look man, if I didn't have my Susanoo, you know, the one with the Yada mirror, the thing that reflects all physical attacks, yeah, I would have died. It's a shame we never got to see it again, like ever, not even once in the manga. But Studio Period decided to be amazing and allowed it to make a brief appearance in the animated version of Naruto vs. Sasuke in the Final Valley. And when that happened, I lost it, dude. I could not contain my hype. It was the craziest thing to see the Kirin come down from the sky, bite Naruto's Kyuubi cloak before exploding and sending waves of water everywhere, all over the place. God, man, this jutsu is great. I'm not really making much sense right now. I'm just rambling on and giggling like a child about it. So I think before this gets too out of hand, I'm just gonna end the